A very beautiful Wednesday afternoon to you. Welcome to Midweek Politics live on Mɪᴅ 98.3 FM. I mean, if you get to stream us live, which we're doing by the way on all our social media platforms, facebook.com/Mɪᴅ 98.3 FM, on YouTube Mɪᴅ 98.3, on Instagram Mɪᴅ 98.3, and on X, formerly Twitter, it's Mɪᴅ FM. There's something about, putting on the mic every single time I do, and that excitement on my face is that, because I think it's a privilege for us to be on this side, and then when we get to have you on the other side listening to us, we know that it is our responsibility to make sure that every single thing we pass out to you from here, information, entertainment, education, and whatever it is at all, or we open feedback platforms for you to talk back to us, to win our giveaways that we, by the way, see, you can't afford to miss sport jams. Henceforth, there's always something to win. Movie tickets, token, data, giveaways, 12:15 to 1 p.m. every Mondays to Fridays. And Bartolome, our superstar DJ Gabity, gives you everything you need to know with a beautiful blend of sports and music. Hey, it's Midweek Politics, and we get to do this only once a week. But we have other platforms where we can have conversations around politics, conversation around nationhood, conversation around patriotism, where we can discuss some of the situations that we have in this country. 4 to 5:30 p.m. every Mondays to Fridays, but we'll always start with the big one on Sundays, 6 to 8 p.m. Aside Fuad with his League of Extraordinary Analysts, would always come together from Mr. Curtis to Olalekone to Adegbinro. I mean, these are individuals that understand the fiber of political conversation when it comes to Nigeria and even in diaspora. Would always give you that space to talk to us. 6 to 8 p.m. every Sunday, and today it's a big one. This is the platform where we blow it open on INDAD. Well, because of the ethics of our profession, we censor. But of course, when we get into the thick of the conversation, we don't hold back. We don't withhold any information whatsoever from you. My name is ᴏᴜᴜ and it's my pleasure to always join you every Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m. But it gladdens my heart the more that I don't get to do this alone. I have Victor Achibong and Side Fuad always here. This is straight up 120 minutes deep truth conversation around politics, and today we've got 4 major things that we're going to be discussing on the show today. And because of the number of calls we always have, I will try and make it as quick as we can so that we'll open the phone line. So today we're going to be discussing at the Council of State meeting that was held about 48 hours ago that passed a vote of confidence on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course you know the people that attend the Council of State, the former head of state and former president. The last one that was held, there was the former military administrator Abdulsalam Abubakar, former president Goodluck Jonathan. There was also General Yakubu Gowon retired, and the immediate past president Muhammadu Buhari. But guess what? The president that set the template for the democracy we're having right now from 1999 to 2007, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, did not attend the Council of State meeting. In fact, yesterday I saw when he arrived in the US alongside Professor Pat Utomi for an interview with an international media space. Hey, we'll talk about that today. The Port Harcourt refinery, for the 6th time, they've extended, extension. They postponed. I mean, it's looking to me more like how the Nigerian Professional Football League always runs. And so they give us a date and they tell us it's tentative. So 3 days to when it's supposed to start, they postpone it indefinitely. The Port Harcourt refinery is also up on the conversation today. Then the bad governance protesters, the conversation around some of them being placed on watch list, some of them having their accounts suspended. They said there are political sympathizers being arrested in a democracy, in a system where the leadership of this particular democracy are deep-rooted beneficiaries of protest. Why are there clampdowns? And the last for today, we make a quick stop in Edo State. The drama between Edo and Rivers, I don't know which one has the highest number of drama now, but there's a governorship election in Edo State next month, and trust us on Mainland FM. We're going to be on ground to give you everything you need to know about that election. But the matters arising on that particular conversation. Day before yesterday, specifically on Monday, had impeached Borno State head, governor or deputy governor of the state, Mɪᴅ-ᴜᴇᴇᴅ, gave a broadcast right in the comfort of his own apartment. But he said, hey, he's now the deputy governor. He has instructed all of his aides and staff to resume their duties, and that is an action taken based on the court's judgment that invalidated his impeachment, and also ordered that every of his entitlement and salaries should be returned or should be paid. The Inspector General of Police was also instructed to return all of his security details. However, the Edo State PDP and the Edo State House of Assembly approached the court to seek a stay of execution on that judgment. So as it stands, Rivers State have 2 houses of assemblies, Kano State have 2 emirs, and Edo State have 2 deputy governors. Welcome to Nigeria and welcome to Maybe Politics live on Mainland 98.3 FM. Side forward, it's another time to talk politics on the radio. Good to have you join us again today.
It's nice to be here with you, Okwemi, and I think the last one really also put up my imagination about how confused we are as a people. Ordinarily, things that are supposed to be about processes, about laid down procedure, becomes muddled up, like you just rightly enumerated. In Kano State now we have 2 emirs. In Rivers State we have 2 houses of assembly, and then now in Edo State we have 2 deputy governors, and all of this is coming as a result of the lack of goodwill from our politicians to, of course, uphold what is supposed to be the tenets and foundation of democracy, which is the rule of law. They really want to do what they want to do. They want to tinker with the law. They want to manipulate the processes. They are not ready to follow procedure and processes. And so you have us having to deal with this avoidable crisis and confusion.
Really avoidable. I think that's the key word.
Because again, at the end of the governance is happening in Kano State as we speak. I think even during the end bad governance protests in Kano, you had the 2 emirs addressing
their people.
While Malam the emir Sanusi addressed a group of crowd at the main Kano palace. You had the post addressing the Nasarawa palace too. So in one city, 2 emirs. In Rivers State too. Since this crisis started between Siminala Fubara, the governor, and that state tells properly. But again, it is what it is. Maybe one of the things we'd have to go through in the process of sustained democracy, I thought that would have been able to build this democracy beyond the shenanigans of our politicians. That were a scholarly cover was that growth is quantitative while development. But what is the quality of democracy we have? That's the big question.
Big question, Victor. I mean, it is always very interesting, especially the conversation around distribution of maybe 20 rice. The governor of Bacha had also come to say the same thing. But one thing that confuses me is this. The president is presiding some sort of people. Why does it look like we have a parallel system of government? Should we still be on this issue of the Port Harcourt refineries? 6th time is being postponed to resume to supply to this, to that. There's been speculations, 660 naira lifting price, this and that. Why do we have to still be on this same position, Victor? It's another Wednesday afternoon.
Yes, let me say good afternoon first to all the listeners out there, and also good afternoon to you, Okwemi Akinyode and Said Fuad. Always a pleasant time, having this conversation here. Of course, when you talk about politics, you're more or less talking about everything that has to do with the way of the people. Interesting question you ask, and also interesting reactions you're always going to get, especially in the light that whenever there are issues to be discussed or whenever there are issues to be tackled, what you get to hear is that there is always a distribution of trucks of rice. And unfortunately, Nigerians don't get to see this rice. I think I was asking this question one of the callers called sometimes last week to ask where are they getting this rice from. I was asking because I wanted to ask, have you seen anyone yourself for you to be asking that question? millions of Nigerians are still waiting for this rice. And for the states of Abia, where the governor came to say that he hasn't seen, I mean, somebody needs to start answering questions. You ask the question, the governments, they are presiding over the people. The president is also talking to the people. Who exactly is talking to Nigeria? Somebody needs to do a thorough interpretation of the Nigerian constitution.
Here we go again.
Now, I think
here we go again.
So many people are coming out to say, let's restructure, let's change, let's do a lot of changes to the lacuna we have in this constitution, because it appears as though, from what people have seen, that some persons seem to be like demigods. But I'll leave it at that. To the question of the Nigeria Petroleum, or Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, and the Port Harcourt Refinery. Well, I think this is the reason we have Said Forward in the studio. 6 times we have heard of this. Now, recently we were supposed to have this refinery swing into full production. As a matter of fact, I listened to Dr. Billy Jules Harry, who happens to be the president of Petron. We're talking about the Owners Retailers Association of Nigeria when it comes to petroleum product. Now, he specifically said emphatically that in days to come, the Port Harcourt refinery, especially the one that produces 60,000 barrels per day, which happens to be the smaller one, is good to go. He said in terms of mechanical preparation, they are good to go. They've done
the number of days was when? It was how many weeks ago?
Just some few days back.
Okay.
We heard from the GCEO, although he said don't quote me, but he's so certain that the Port Harcourt refinery will definitely start production. In 2021, 1.5 billion naira was approved by the FEC for the turnaround maintenance of this refinery. Said, what I'm going to come to you with this question. As regards the Port Harcourt refinery, it appears it is more like a merry-go-round. If we look at what happened in 2021, when the then Minister for State of Petroleum clearly stated that the money that is being pumped into the turnaround maintenance of this refinery will be used in 3 batches. First in 18 months and then other months spread around. Now, ideally by now, this refinery should be producing
all of the 3 batches are supposed to have been working right now.
It has exhausted by the counting. It has been exhausted. But Said Fuad, now we were supposed to see production of the refinery, but unfortunately, what we are getting is a postponement of the kickoff. How do you want to react to this?
Well, do we call it postponement, or whereas there was actually no timeline? Again, it's one thing to issue statements. It's another thing really to have commitment to really ensure that the statement amounts to anything. And I think with Nigeria, we're used to public officials, politicians making promises, making statements.
Sometimes recklessly. Sometimes
just, okay, let me just tell them what they want to hear. Okay, maybe you want the Port Harcourt refinery to work, so tell me that to work. But in reality, there's no conscious effort to ensure it works. There's no deliberate effort. There's nothing intentional about fixing those refineries. Every Nigerian out there, of course, understand why it is important for us to have functional refineries as an oil-producing nation. If you go through the list of other oil-producing nations, you probably will be shocked that Nigeria is currently the only oil-producing nation without at least one functional refinery until the Dᴇ refinery came upstream. And that's also one refinery that there seems to be a gang up against. There seems to be efforts, to frustrate and run that refinery aground the same way we've run 4 other refineries. Before 2021, that $1.5 billion was approved for the Port Harcourt refinery. We've had several approvals of monies.
In 2016, we had $2.1 billion.
So if you aggregate all the monies we've put into trying to turn around that refinery,
we probably would have even started building a new one.
We would have been able to at least build about 4
brand new refineries.
For those that are familiar with the Port Harcourt refinery complex, it's called a co-ownership kind of thing. Co-ownership in the sense that it can accommodate more than 1-2 refineries. In fact, it can accommodate about 4 other refineries. So the facility there to moving crude oil, to taking refined product out, is deliberately constructed to take and accommodate more refineries. And people have said that, look, from Chief Olusegun Obasanjo in 1999, 8 years, to the late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua 2 years, to the 6 years of Goodluck Jonathan, 8 years of Muhammadu Buhari. Let us even assume that these old refineries have been run aground to the point where they cannot be revived. Why have we not been able to build new refineries? I was listening to an oil and gas expert who said that $1.5 billion that we approved in 2021 would have given us about 6 modular refineries. Remember that the $1.5 billion we're talking about is still talking about 60,000 barrels per day capacity. The Port Harcourt refinery has 2. The 150 is what he's saying is that, look, we can build modular refineries of 10,000 barrels per day. That's, there are modular refineries of 20,000 barrels per day. But I think that, look, when I talk about the doctrine of motion without movement, I think what we have is a situation where people are fed fat. They are overfed. They've enjoyed the status quo. This idea of taking out crude and bringing back refined. So they've gotten to the point where it's extremely difficult for them to want a new thing to happen. Every other thing that works in other places, they frustrated.
There's no work here.
So that's why you have a Dangote, for example, who did all he could do. We are taught that, look, he got all the government patronage and support until he came out recently to say that, look, there was nothing spectacular that was done to me. I went out there, did my art.
I paid for the land.
I borrowed money from different banks in the world.
They want me not to even do the investment.
Friends who told me that, look, you put this money into all things, or if you're going to do this,
do it somewhere else.
Put it out there. Don't put it back home. Okay. And here you are now. The man is regretting his decision. He said that, look, this is one investment he should not have done if he had listened to his friends and business associates, but he wanted it. He said that the reason why he went into building a refinery was when he bought one and it was taken by the government from him, and at that point he had said that, look, one day I'm going to build my own refinery. I get he was just trying to be patriotic. Of course, this is a man that no matter what anybody says about maybe monopoly and what have you, he is the second largest employer of the federal government. So it's somebody that should be taken seriously, someone that should be supported, irrespective of what anybody thinks about his business model and ideas. But look, for you to have a businessman build the largest single train refinery in Africa and Nigeria, one would have thought that, look, the government would have come to support him. They would have given him all the leverage. I mean, somebody is doing what you have struggled to do. But what we have seen is that the same government that have not been able to fix its own refineries now have negative statements, negative appraisal of what is considered to be a game changer. In fact, there are several reports. I think there's a Bloomberg report that says that, look, the Dangote refinery that has been built in Nigeria is going to disrupt the world order. Because even OPEC is checking. Everybody's checking and see what is going to happen with the Dangote refinery. Hoping that, look, when other refineries come upstream, Nigeria will be self-sufficient, will also be the net exporter of refined products, and of course shake the oil sector. There's going to be some level of disruption. But here what you have are people who want to maintain the status quo. They want to keep importing refined products that are crude out there, blend it in Malta or in some other countries we don't know of. So I even started hearing of Sao Tome and Principe. Suddenly Malta came into the conversation of any of other countries. But look, where will the savior come from for Nigeria? It's just one question I've been asking myself. Okay. Somebody needs to save this country.
We have this conversation coming from the chairman of the ad hoc committee, Senator Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele. He said an alleged economic sabotage is what he sees the economy, or rather the committee, has noticed an alleged economic sabotage. Although we heard from the GCEO when he said that whatever they were all saying was more like trying to taint his image. As far as they are concerned, the NNPCL is dedicated, devoted, and they're working tooth and nail to see that everything works. Of course, when you do the calculation, just like you rightly said, you can tell that millions of dollars have been pumped billions rather, thank you very much, have been pumped into the 4 refineries that we have, owned by Nigeria, owned and managed by the NNPCL. Unfortunately, none is working. But according to the other committee, They say they're going to thoroughly carry out their investigation. Now, if you were to suggest, based on all of the facts that we have, and then also from the glaring picture that we can see, our refineries are more like moribund refineries, as to speak. More like, because they are moribund refineries. In fact, they are moribund refineries. Now, if you want the ad hoc committee to investigate, where would you suggest that they start their investigation from?
Well, investigation. We've always been investigating. We've had probes. We've had several.
They said if you want to hang something in this country, set up committee.
The committee will now issue a report that another committee will review, and then But I think with this issue of the refinery, I said it earlier in the morning that one of our friends, who is an energy expert, had met with the asset manufacturers of the refinery, and he asked them, "Could this refinery ever work?" And they told him no. Look, we gave you a maintenance schedule when we build these refineries for you. There's a way you run a machine aground, to the point where they tell you just go and sell it scrap. So I think that, look, for people who are making a lot of money, bringing refined petroleum products into the country, who are also making a lot of money from, putting monies into the refinery for turnaround maintenance, they are enjoying it and they don't want to let go. And that's why some of us are surprised as to what happened under President Muhammadu Buhari for 8 years, when he made himself
the Minister of Petroleum.
When Buhari came in, he was seen as the anti-corruption Caesar. In fact, there are people who have said that there's a new sheriff in town. People were expecting people to sit up. People were expecting that, look, we're going to be seeing people in jail. Again, looking back at his antecedents when he was the military head of state with the late Idir:agbon, the operation, war against indiscipline, and every other thing that he stood for. But it was 8 years of what people has considered tolerance to misbehavior, to corruption, and a whole lot of other vices that one I would have thought would not have existed under a Muhammadu Buhari that they had known in the 80s. But here we are. He wasn't able to do anything. More monies were voted for the refinery and nothing happened for 8 years. Like I said, it's not limited to his own tenure. Good Jonathan was there for 6 years. What did he do? Yar'Adua came in for 2 years. Obasanjo was there for 8 years. His recent statement was that the best he did was to call Shell to come maintain the refinery, and they eventually declined, and he wanted to just sell it. You understand what I'm saying? But when he sold it, his predecessor came in, questioned the sale, and revoked that sale process. But again, there are still a lot of questions as to national assets, how they were sold under the Obasanjo regime. Quite a lot of questions as to whether some of them were undervalued, whether some of them were sold to friends and cronies. Nobody has been able to probe what happened to a lot of the national assets at that time. I'll give you an example for people who may not understand why there are questions as to what happened to a lot of our national assets at that time. The 1004 estate, for example, for people who don't know, it means that you have 1004 units of flats in that complex. It's not located in Badagry. With all due respect to my people in Badagry, it's not located in Ekpe. It's located right there in the middle of Victoria Island and Ikoyi, and it was sold for 7 billion naira under Chief Olusegun Obasanjo as president. It was sold for what? 7 billion naira. I'm talking about an estate that has 1004 units.
Oh, not 1004 rooms.
No, not rooms. So units, a mix of 3 bedrooms and 1 bedroom. Was sold for 7 billion. And a lot of my friends in the real estate sector who are experts have said that, look, this must have been a ridiculous. It should go into the award of the most ridiculous real estate sale ever. For you to sell, again, the location is, how much is even a plot of land in Victoria Land at that time to start with? So those were some of the things. We know how the sale of a lot of plots in Ikoyi, Ikeja, GRA, and several other places too. So, but again, on the refinery, the question is, where do we go from here? You have people who have licenses who are already looking at the shaggy that Dangote is going through, and they are saying, look, we can't do this.
Sure, I'm not going to sell this.
This is big license. Everybody that wants to buy.
Come and collect.
I told Sandy earlier, people should sell the 4 refiners, and she asked me a question. So if you are an investor and you see what Dangote is going to, would you go and buy the refinery in the country?
Even the one that was bidding with his money is still struggling. So
if you aggregate all of these things, it's looking like a hopeless situation. Who is going to save us? The question is, who is going to save us? If President Muhammadu Buhari, who made himself Minister of Petroleum for 8 years, could not save us, will President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is now also the Minister of Petroleum, save us? It's the big question.
All right. I wanted to ask quickly before Okoyemi takes over the microphone. Do you have any sort of faith in this probe? Okay. All right. We'll leave it there.
See, I'm not so much of an in-house committee or probe panel or whatever. Why is it difficult for us to have external auditor? Just bringing external auditors to come and check the books. In the last 25 years, how many millions of barrels of crude have left this country?
Okay.
Bring external auditors. It is only Nigeria setting up a committee, and someone that's supposed to be involved in the probe, or someone that's supposed to be probed, will still be made to be a member of the committee. You say you want to probe the failure of the sport this thing at the Olympics. You are still making the Minister of Sport part of the probe committee that will probe the issue. So how do you make someone a judge in his own case, Victor? You want to investigate me, and you're making me have access to some things that can remove, that could include. How do you plan all of these things? Bring in independent auditors. Go to multinational, go outside of the country, go and bring in people that don't have interest whatsoever. Let them check the books. The House of Rep is calling for the suspension of this one. This one is saying that Mele Kyari, this one is saying it's okay. Let Mele Kyari stay there, but let foreign auditors come. We're not saying auditors they cannot do it. They can, but let us just imagine that there could be interest and maybe compromise and all of that. Let's bring people from outside. People that don't have interest, ask for the books. Give me this and this. If we say we are pulling 60 million liters per day, it's crazy, Victor. Let me give you the stat. Before COVID, we were using 60 million liters of petrol per day. During COVID, when there was nationwide lockdown, Victor, all of the 36 states and the FCT was on total lockdown. We're still consuming the same millions of liters per day. So was it that when people were on lockdown, they were drinking petrol because cars were not moving, businesses were not running, but we still consume the same 60 million liters of petrol per day?
Somebody needs to answer that question.
Exactly.
Well, Okoyemi, again, those are some of the issues we've always been talking about, really, and the issue is, again, how did we get to the point where we can't say for a fact our daily consumption when it comes to petrol? But I think about a week or so ago, the Minister of Finance was still out there saying that, look, they are still not sure about our daily consumption of PMS. We have a figure of 44 million liters per day now, used to be 63, 65. But what they are saying now is that after subsidy has been removed, the daily consumption has gone down. There are people who think it's kudos to the government. I say that, look, it's because we can no longer afford to buy.
People are selling their
I have a director in Alausa who only brings his car out on Mondays. Other days he takes a public bus. Again, people say, what's the big deal? Abroad people use public buses. Big people.
Public buses
it's not functional. So that's why a director, for example, is going to make the news that a director cannot take his car out for more than one day. In Nigeria, yes, he should be able to use a public bus, but we have non-functional public transportation system. So if a little thing as accountability in our daily consumption is a problem, Okoyemi, you can see that the bigger issues will be difficult to really deal with.
Thank you.
Because that's supposed to be like
the least of our problems.
Daily consumption. So
how many depots do we have?
During the COVID, when people are not going out, it was still the same calculation. And people are even saying, Okoyemi, that let us even agree that we're doing 44 million liters. So are they telling me that, look, I fuel my car every day? Is that the calculation? Does it mean that I fuel my car now
every day? So that means Monday to Sunday it will be 44 million.
It must be 44 million liters.
There are no days where maybe cars are not moving on weekends when they are less. I bought one on Monday, last week to Thursday.
They have just a figure.
Constant figure.
And that's why people are saying that, look, one of the easiest ways again to monitor and know the exact daily consumption of petroleum into this country is to look at the number of filling stations we have and do an aggregate figure of what they sell per day. There are mechanisms, there are ways to do these things. But you know why this conversation has become so difficult to unravel, to solve this mystery? It is again because as an oil producing nation, we have no business importing refined petroleum products or PME. If we are self-sufficient locally, all of these things would have been able to manage.
If you have 4 refineries, you know that everybody is buying from the 4 refineries. How many did you pump out today? How many liters? How many trailers? How many tankers did you load today? So there's depot in Oре. There's one in this one. How many thousands of liters? It's simple.
So you can see the corruption that comes with this idea of importing petroleum products into the country, and that's why the people who are benefiting from it are hell bent on ensuring the status quo remains. That's one thing. The other thing, look at it. Look at the margin. Look at the price margin. You go to NNPC filling station to the Okoyemi, you are going to buy at 585 naira.
I bought at 900 naira and from an independent market on Sunday.
So that margin, some people are benefiting from it. So now independent marketers are saying, the IPMAN guys are saying that look, they are not able to buy directly from the NNPCL, so they go to the private depot owners. The information we have today is that NNPCL is still the sole importer of petroleum products to the country.
So how are the private owners getting?
So that means they are the ones that supply to the private depot owners. Those owners sell a premium to the IPMAN guys. So it means that from NNPCL bringing it in to the private depot owners to the level of IPMAN, Nigerians are suffering needlessly because of the corruption, the greed of people in the value chain of payment in the country.
That means if NNPC could supply to private depot owners, that means NNPC is actually bringing in enough that cannot own farm tanks.
Look, okay, what are you telling
tank farms rather?
When the NNPC reps guys, and he told them, look, you are standing here right at my,
and these are the check them. These are the readings at my lab,
where we check the quality of the products we produce here.
And also
even Europe, where they have standards, they are not going to compromise on standards.
True.
And he said that look, apart from the fact that I've sold to Europe, we've also had a situation. Look, NMDPRA has 13 workers who work here with us to check what we do.
Are they also compromised?
They take samples, they test. And Alhaji Ali Al-Kurana says something. The NMDPRA guys who are saying my product is inferior, is bad, and what have you, please let them take you to their own laboratory.
I'm going to check them.
These guys have no laboratory. A regulator that's supposed to check the standard of production. But that was the challenge that was a push to them. Let them show you their own laboratory.
How did they check that my own standard is even bad?
So don't be surprised that look, maybe it's also contracted out. They take samples and then also take it out to check. So you can't run an ordinary laboratory.
So let's leave this people.
Anyway, this is the NNPC, which is in charge of the government refinery, has given Nigerians different dates, assuring citizens that the refinery will begin the sale of refined products soon in July, shown in early August. As we have it today,
said early August.
Early is early is before mid now.
This is 14th. So we're in
tomorrow is 15. Mid start tomorrow.
No, I'm actually very
optimistic,
patient with them. I even think we should give them to the end of August.
Let's just say tiny details.
That in 2019 he also said that before the end of the year, that the 4 refineries, not even the
Mr. Mele has lied to Nigerians on several occasions.
And it's a massive disappointment.
He's called for a probe. He appears before the house without documents. He goes there, practically faffs around.
He's like down a member of the house committee.
Like an untouchable. And people are still asking questions. Every other major public official under Muhammadu Buhari has been fired.
What Victor when Mele is still in government? I'm sorry, Said, when late Moshood Cash, one of the things he said is that he's going to unbundle the conspiracy in NNPC. That was about 33 years ago, Victor. We're still here today. Said Fuad is asking. Tinubu held his first he needed pass 2 presidents now. But Muhammadu Buhari and Gowon retired. Both of them joined virtually. Said Fuad, you made mention of the 1004 building.
Yes.
And you talked about the fact that a nation of Nitel, NEPA, the nomenclature came to PACN, some of the national assets were sold, some of the abandoned airlines that had been in the news, questioning a lot of. He said the National Assembly don't have the right to fix down at Friday. Talked about how he was made to resign. while his resignation letter was signed on his bill, on the signature of don't let me sound blasphemous. Said what? The Council of State meeting passed a vote of confidence on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. About 90% of all of 36 state government, him attending the Council of State meeting. See, you may hate him or like him, but the foundation of this democracy was actually set down by him. Like a few good policies. DS work with him as cabinet ministers. Somebody told me that at the point he was being sworn,
okay, let me first time in President Obasanjo came in when every Nigerian wanted. Remember that look, not be able to use.
You can't try that now
because our politicians now understand legal procedures. They understand the lacunas in the law. They understand how to play the politics. They understand
the lobbying game is now crazy
now. Then they can manipulate everything now. So what he did, he had every opportunities. He paid our debt. He came with telecoms. He was one that brought in GSM, blah blah blah. If you go and read the story development and what so while you are taking care of the needs of the people,
doing at the moment,
if because it is not sustainable when you create a development and at the same time you create a structure to disrupt it. And in terms of governance, how do you create a structure that is sustainable? How do you create a structure, for example, that Atatürk created for Turkey that is still sustainable till today, that has made Turkey one of the reference points of the entire Europe?
Turkey used to be like the back door of Europe.
Nobody wants
to go to Turkey and die. That's what used to be.
The entire Europe saw them as outcasts. It was a nation they didn't want to have anything to do with.
Just look at Turkey.
Today, I can say it with all sense of understanding of what is on ground in Europe to say that look, it may be Germany and France alone, and maybe England who would stand toe to toe with Turkey in terms of industrialization and development. And it took only one leader to whip everybody back to life and create a sustainable structure for the people of Turkey. Look at what had happened in Dubai, for example, the UAE. You had a set of leaders who saw the future, who created, something different for their people, and also created a sustainable structure. People talk about Lee Kuan Yew. We joke a lot about Lee Kuan Yew. You see our politicians, every time they make references to great leaders, they talk about him. He didn't only come to whip his people back to life, he also created a sustainable structure that people can continue to ride on. The question is that, look, at the point Olusegun Obasanjo was ruling the country for 8 years, what was the sustainable plan he created? And one of the easiest ways to sustain development for the future is to ensure you inform the entire electoral process, understanding that you cannot be leader for forever. So look at America, for example. We always say, look at strong institutions, for example, in the US. Even if you elect a moron, there is a system that would curtail them. There's a system that will ensure you do the right thing. Yes, you might have different opinions on immigration, on housing, on healthcare, on blah blah blah, but when it comes to American interest, development, progress,
it is static.
It's the same thing. Institutions will whip you to line if you decide to deviate from it. Other petty issues might have different opinions about abortion,
same-sex marriage,
issues, but when it comes to the agenda of America being the most powerful nation in the world,
it is that or nothing.
It is that or nothing. And there's a structure that keeps you on that track. You can't deviate from it. So, but look, I say this for people to understand that, look, when we talk about meaningful development, how nations are risen from developing, from underdeveloped to developing and now developed. Check, there were leaders that came in, and while they were building their nations, they forgot about their own personal interests. Whereas they built a structure to say, when I leave this place, this is what this country is going to be going forward. But what did Olusegun Obasanjo? He was trying to build a political empire. We knew, look, the old changing of 5 Senate president, was it about nation building? It was about political interest. The entire third term agenda, was it about nation building? Never. And to cap it all, you now conducted an election that even the beneficiary of election
had to come out and say, hey, not experience this kind of election again.
The question again is this: even at the point where you had the influence to choose a leader for Nigeria, was the late Muhammadu
best fit.
What informed Obasanjo's choice to have the Yar'Adua?
Well, they were Peter Odili, they were Donald Duke, they were campaigning.
I knew that, look, they were brilliant minds. But we know why Yaradua was the best option for Obasanjo.
Yaradua was barely seen in public space in 8 years when he was governor of Katsina State.
Talk about his achievement, I just laugh. This was a guy that ruled Katsina State, and he was said that look, he was never seen anywhere. He hardly attended anything. There was no commissioning of anything because he was actually battling to save himself. His health had been failing. To the extent that even on the campaign ground,
they had to call him and put him on speaker.
The people say he did everything. Even was calling on for Umoru, are you dead? You are leaving the destiny of a country you say you love in the hands of a man that you are not even sure of his health. And then the man came in. God bless the soul of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. Fantastic gentleman, a very good man. But there are people who have said that look, a lot of the decisions he took at that time, because he was not really on ground, had a lot of issues. And then look at the pairing. Igolo Jonathan also came into the pairing. That two pairing, was that the best
we could afford
given Nigeria at that time? Let's be adults here. Let's speak. Let's talk with all sense of emphasis and understanding of some of these issues. Okay, so we went through that era. Igolo Jonathan for 6 years appeared like a man that was never prepared for leadership. We knew how people questioned his decisions, how his ministers were doing all manner of things. Diziani was everywhere, just doing whatever he wanted to do. It was obvious. The wife was almost like in charge of governance. Mama Peace. We knew what happened. And that was why Nigeria also got fatigued about that era, the 16 years of PDP, and just wanted a change. In 2015, APC would have, whoever APC got out at that time,
it was anybody but Jonathan.
Because of the transitional failure in leadership that we had from the Obasanjo era to 2015. And then we were just desperate. You know that kind of desperation. We just want anything but the PDP. Now we got APC. They came in, they understood the mood of the nation. They read the room and sold the idea of change to Nigerians. And we bought it.
Hook, line,
and then we got it in 2015. Oh, a new sheriff is in town. Oh, the man with discipline is going to whip everybody back to line. Corruption that has been endemic.
He didn't even whip himself to line.
He was complete.
Because it was more like he was really involved.
Look, like one of my friends, actually, not even somebody who is politically savvy, told me. She said, it's like when it comes to leadership in Nigeria, it's a competition of failure. I will be worse than you. Don't worry. That the next person comes and the thing is that don't worry. They think you are bad. Me, I will take you to the next level. And so running for 8 years, complete confusion. There was a lot of, you had the situations where ministers were contradicting themselves.
Ministers were not even talking to each other.
You had this one would make a statement and then the is coming. So there was complete confusion. The first 4 years, it was a battle between the Senate, National Assembly, and the federal, and the
Senate president was doing talk at the city.
The presidency. So we thought, okay, maybe 4 years of lack of understanding. Maybe people have been in the opposition for too long. So governance was a problem for them. 4 years of complete confusion. Okay, they came in. Amila became Senate president. We thought that there was going to be some stability. Again, another 4 years. We said, okay, now we are in another era. That's why Nigerians are no longer patient. Because for 25 years, they've been seeing this trajectory of failure after failure. And they're wondering, so are you going to wait for another 8 years to continue to give excuses again? No, we can't. Look, if you add 8 years to your age, don't be smart,
we'll be talking golden jubilee.
That's why Nigerians are like, she by Mama Balonime. They make promises, they say all manner of. So when I go back to the issue of Obasanjo, I keep saying that, look, no matter what anybody said he achieved, sustainable foundation when it comes to development for Nigeria, but he failed to do it, and that was why. At the point of leaving the office, you remember that he needed more time.
And then to push the third-term agenda,
which failed eventually. Look, if you do what you are supposed to do,
you don't need 12 years.
You can do 4 years and look. How many years Baba Jack will they do to have this legacy in Lagos? 4 years and 3 months. So when the third term came, I remember that Ferry, the leaders of Ferry used to tell him in 1999 that Baba, you are not going to be president for.
You won't.
Please put it at the back of your mind that look, there will be a time you will leave this position, but create a structure that will give us situations where the best of minds, and then the politicians after you have now even mastered it more than you, and they've created what
survive if he was president now, because the people he was presiding over were the James Ibori, let me see how this. But now, the sophistication and the doctors.
In 1999, our politicians.
It was just a bushy. Everybody just come up on board.
It cannot use 5 Senate president. It can't even use 2 now. It can't even remove 2 now. But he did 5. He had the PDP was in his pocket. You are the chairman of the party. You see everything contrary.
Tomorrow morning,
you know, we knew what happened to Aụ̀dị̀ọ̀gbè and all of that. It was his era that you have situations where governors were being impeached with minority members. It was in his era.
When you had non-state actors impeaching the government. We saw it in our state.
So when you create that foundation of chaos, controversy, you are not going to get anything.
So do you validate his criticism? Because see, he's a showman.
Yes.
He's a man that really loves to embrace the media. And once he speaks, whether he writes his regular open letters or he grants interviews or he just does his normal talk, there would always be something to stir up that conversation. By the way, I want to recommend, you can lay your hand on 2 books of the same author, and I'm talking to the listeners as well. Against the Role of Play and Power, Politics and Death. Both of the books written by ᴏᴜᴛᴛᴇ. Against the Role of Play, I talked about how Jonathan was, pushed out of office, how he didn't see the merger of the APC coming. Then Power, Politics and Death was a chronicle of the administration of Goodluck Jonathan's completing late Yar'Adua tenure. Go and read those books, guys. You will love it.
Depending on books, and still talking about Chief Olusegun, I was in secondary school when I started reading his books. At least the first book I read was My Command. Which was the story of the military commando. I was in secondary school, and I had to dig into my grandfather's library, and I got into it. Several other books. Inside Kirikiri by Ebenezer Batokpe, Awo, the autobiography of Obafemi Awolowo, and several other books. And even as a very young scholar at that time, came to me and like, why is this man so much about himself? He only talks about himself. He believes himself alone. He doesn't even believe in any other person. So this is the issue. Baba came in 1999 building governance only around himself. There was no transition. There was no transitional plan. There was no sustainable development plan. Because in a democracy, you can only build a sustainable development plan when you create room for other leaders to emerge in transparent and the most effective manner. You see, when you do things that are bad or you do things that are negative, there are people that will come after you and make worse decisions than you, because what we have now gotten is a situation where our politicians are now even more shrewd and sophisticated than that era. So if you think you can rig election, these ones are master riggers now. If you think you can impeach people anyhow, they now understand the game. They understand the judicial process. They understand the lacunas in our law. So anytime Baba, you see, the only time you can begin to take Baba seriously is when you go into the doctrine of look, take the message with the messenger. But if you want to align the message with the messenger,
and it's tough because sometimes the messenger is even bigger than the message.
So a lot of times you see me trying to trash the message when I look at the messenger. A lot of times when immediately I see the messenger, I say look at the message.
Because sometimes the messenger is bigger than the message.
At the end of the day, the message can only be understood when you begin to process the thinking pattern of the messenger.
Before we leave this conversation, Victor will lead us into the next one. Aside from the vote of confidence that was passed on the president by the Council of States, what does that say to you about the last?
That was the entire thing, and we understand propaganda, we understand misinformation. But look, all of that is not as important as you telling yourselves the truth. The question is, are Nigerians suffering? The question is, are Nigerians better in the last 1 year of this government before they came in? And what is the present position of Nigerians? Look, you see the Minister of Finance come to say, the economy is taking shape, things are getting improving, inflation is dropping. But you know what? The easiest template to check the economy of a nation, is to look at the living standards of the people. Have the living standards of Nigerians improved in the last 1 year plus of this government? We can boldly say the living standards of people have gotten better.
That's the vote of confidence. And the principle of vote of confidence arises from the insinuations that they are vote of no confidence. Why do we need a vote of confidence for the president if there are no ideas that they are vote of no confidence?
Somewhere. The people have said that, look, our vote is a vote of no confidence for now on you. And we are telling you to change, we are telling you to review your policies. You still have time. I've always said it.
It's for 4 years.
It's 4 years.
Nothing you want to do about
people are protesting about hardship now. It's a vote of no confidence on the government for now, hoping that the government will listen to them, review some of their policies, and who says in 2027 they might get the vote of confidence in a reform of re-election.
So,
but why does the presidency so much desperately need
that vote of confidence?
Former leaders, who a lot of them were part of the problem, current political leaders who are still part of the problem.
The governors are even passing vote of confidence on the president.
So that's why I said, what exactly is the value of that vote of confidence?
What exactly is the value of the vote of confidence? It is asking that question. But anyway, still taking us into the conversation as we are discussing politics on Midweek Politics right here on Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't forget, we're streaming live on Facebook, so do well to drop your comments right there as well. The next conversation we have is about still in line with the protest. Even though, we've heard that the protest has ended. 10 days of the protest is over. Today is 14, so like 4 days back. Even though there was a 1 million march in Abuja, the results of that 1 million march was very, very abysmal. But then the federal government is still talking, and the story we have here is that the federal government blocks 83 billion naira protest funds, arrests political collaborators. The story here reads that the federal government has traced at least 83 billion naira in cryptocurrency and fiat money channeled towards the recent nationwide protests. This includes $50 million of cryptocurrency, which is 38 million of which were blocked in 4 cryptocurrency wallets, and 4 billion naira contributed by various political actors in Abuja, Kano, Kaduna, and Katsina. Now, this was part of a presentation by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribaju at the inaugural meeting of the Council of State, conveyed by President Bola Tinubu at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. So apparently there was also a meeting where the National Security Advisor was present, because he needed to be part of that meeting as a part of the Council of States to have a conversation. And on the issue of security, in fact, we had some point that Deyalake also had to emphasize when he said that kudos to Mr. President for doing everything within his capacity to clamp down on the possible takeover of governance. But then bringing this story into light, the federal government saying here that it has blocked 83 billion naira protest funds and has arrested political collaborators. Part of those political collaborators, according to them, could be traced them to Abuja, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, and even foreigners, as it were. But the question is, how did we get to this point? There were cases where it was said that people were responsible for sponsoring, promoting, they call them faceless. Unfortunately, up to this very moment, we're yet to get any response from our security agency as regards those who put together. Yes, even though we have some persons, some statesmen and women coming out in support of the protest, none has been able to come out to say that they are responsible for carrying it out or bringing about the protest. However, with this story that we have now, the federal government has gone ahead to block 83 billion naira protest funds and arrested political collaborators. Said Fuad, I'm going to bring you on this now, because I really would love to hear what you have got to say as regards this particular story.
Well, again, we all saw the attempt before, during, and after the protest to, of course, all of the efforts of government to, stop the idea of that protest. You saw that, look, because the protest was announced in advance. Everybody had to come up to do something to stop Nigerians from going to the streets. You saw every minister issuing statements. In fact, there was a ministerial briefing as a result of the announcement of the press.
There were regional briefings. There were party stakeholders meetings. There were traditional institutions.
Everybody.
The briefing.
Indigenous.
That we saw. And then you had the security operatives having meetings after meetings.
The IG addressing the press almost on daily basis. Even DSS releasing official statements.
So it was clear. Look, before, during, and after this protest, there was this attempt to stop. At some point, I think we played the soundbite of the IG. We even said that, look, even the idea of a peaceful protest is
not.
He said, look, even though they have information that the protest was going to turn violent, but the idea of even a peaceful protest was ill-timed, and so it was almost like an attempt to demonize the idea of a protest in a democracy. And honestly, it came with a lot of surprise for some of us who understand the background of the president, for example, who at some point even had to go to the trenches to fight the military. You know, a lot of his friends, associates, some of them went on exile. He also had to go on exile. And we had a lot of other people who stayed back home here on a daily basis, going out there, you know, ensuring that civil disobedience and resistance against the dark days of the military. But in a democracy, no one is talking about or calling for any form of violent protest. But what we are saying is that, look, in a democracy, one of the ingredients given to the people as part of one of their inalienable rights is the opportunity and the right to protest. Go out there and say, look, we are not happy about this policy.
To pass vote of no confidence of the government.
On the streets. To say, look, we are here saying that, look, on this policy of yours, our vote is a vote of no confidence. So far, they are able to do it in the most peaceful manner. And we also understand that, look, in trying to exercise that their rights, there are going to be fifth columnists, there are going to be people who are going to try to infiltrate them. And what democracy prescribes to the security operatives is that, look, do your job to protect the protester and the non-protester, ensure that, look, everything remains what? Peaceful. And that was why when the president addressed the nation, you could see Professor Olashinka, one of the ardent supporters of the president. He was even somebody who said that, look, I'm not going to criticize the president for now. I'm going to give him 1 year, even though he's not been able to really back that up with any statement now. And give them it means that Professor Olashinka also agreed that there's hardship in the land. Even the president severally in his statement have said that, oh, we understand your suffering, we understand the pain. So why is it that, look, people who have been pained to the point where they now think that, look, okay, maybe the president is not hearing us enough, let's go on the streets to tell him this is our situation, has only become enemies of the state. For everything that happens now that the government is not comfortable about, it becomes a national security conversation. Everybody comes in and they begin to issue threats. Oh, it's national security. NLC was negotiating minimum wage. They wanted to go on strike. It became a national security conversation. There's a problem between two political godfather and son in Rivers State. It became a national security conversation. Whereas the issue of national security, the thing that is really threatening national security in Nigeria, we have not been able to handle. In Benue, there are still killings. In Plateau, there are still killings. In the Northwest, people are still being killed. This concerted effort on protest by security operatives, how concerted is their effort? How deliberate is their effort? How intentional is their effort to fix the insecurity we have in the country, especially in the north central part of the country, the northwest, the northeast? So what we're saying is that, look, I've said it, Okwemi, you can lie to you. Look, people can lie to you. It's excusable that you might not know why it's a lie, but when you lie to yourself,
It's worse.
it's worse. When you deceive yourself, self-deceit is the worst form of lie that you should never tolerate in your life. And I think that, look, in this conversation of nation building, we should ask ourselves, what exactly do we want to achieve? Are we looking at the future? Are we preparing a sustainable development agenda for the country? Or what basically we are trying to build is to build monsters in terms of political figures than building our institutions, building a constitution, building a country that can protect the interests of us today and our children unborn. There are countries that have already protected the interest of their generations unborn. They've put the infrastructure in place, they've put the template in place, the constitution is in place.
Sorry to cut you.
Yes.
Somebody said in Nigeria, we are still contemplating whether to teach history or to teach government, whether to teach hierarchy. That countries in the world are already providing solutions for problems that have not happened.
Of course, yes. Look, a number of countries have gone to Okwemi. For example, I was shocked when I got to the UAE and Dubai precisely. And so we got to a part of the city and we saw these roads that nobody was using. They were already constructing roads, just building roads, and like, these are roads that nobody is using. Even the ones you built, it's just there. What's the population of that entire city? And they said that, oh no, there was a projection. There's a population projection that Dubai's population will be this figure in the next 10 years.
So that's the new face of.
So what they are doing is to put the infrastructure in place for that coming population
to accommodate
them and create a sustainable development agenda for them. People that have not come, they are already preparing for them. They're already thinking about them. And that is what we call visionary leadership. That's when leadership is not about people, but about what? It's not about the people in government, but about the people they govern over. That's what I said about the US. If you look at Donald Trump now and Kamala Harris, anytime they fight, it's about the interest of the people. Abortion, immigration, healthcare. There's none that concerns their own personal interest. It's about the welfare of the people. I was still listening to Donald Trump this morning when he was talking about inflation figures. He was talking about the economy and all of that, and in their conversation, it's about the well-being, the welfare of the people. It's the foremost. But what do we have in Nigeria? I bought phone for all of them. Oh, they want to take my structure away from me. I will not allow that.
Godfather.
And then you begin to see people who, instead of you here in Rivers State now, lawmakers loyal to Nyesom Wike, lawmakers loyal to Governor Siminalayi Fubara. There's no
the speaker of the governor's faction
of, that's the thing. There's none that says lawmakers loyal to the people of Rivers State. And that's how badly we run our democracy, and we are still on that path. And that's why I've asked that question earlier in the show. When will our savior come to whip us back to line and put us on the right path?
Is this a clear case of the leaders we have not listening to the plight of the people, or they have chosen to address issues that they feel is of paramount importance to growth, nation building, as it were? Whether we say that yes, there is a vote of confidence being passed by the Council of States, it has been done so far. Whether people have come out to say that they are hungry and they need food to eat, they need jobs to do, they want infrastructures to be in place, where they need leaders to be able to become accountable and transparent as much as possible, so that lives for the average Nigerian will be better. It still begs to ask the question, is it that leaders have chosen to address issues to them they feel, quote and unquote, will bring about nation building in quotes to them, or not listening to the plight of Nigerians with reference to anger? Because like we said, and just like Opeyemi also hinted, that there is a possibility of a vote of no confidence that brought about the vote of confidence from the Council of States. So that's the question I want to ask, and I really would want to hear your honest opinion as regards the reactions of the leaders when it comes to hearing the people. People have said several times that they want a situation whereby they can have leaders who are empathetic, leaders who can understand the feelings of the people and be able to provide solutions that are long-lasting. And from the examples you also cited as regards visionary leaders, it appears these things, or rather this kind of leaders, are lagging on this part, or in this part of the nation, or in this part of the world. So coming back to that question again, is it a question of they've choosing to listen to what they want to listen to and act based on what their instinct tells them?
No, Victor, to answer your question very simply, we need to first probe the minds of our leaders, current leaders, and probing them means we need to ask them. We need to understand what they understand by nation building. What's their definition of nation building? If you get to understand their minds on the conversation around nation building, then you now question their commitment to that understanding, because you cannot give what you don't have. And what you have will be dependent on your understanding of the issues, and then your understanding of the issues will now give birth to your commitment to the issue, if you understand what I'm saying, Victor. Because what we seem to have are a group of leaders who think nation building is about the amount of power they're able to harness to themselves, amass for themselves. The number of political jobbers who surround them, the number of praise singers who surround them, their ability to be able to impose and put people in positions for their own continuous benefit, whether they are in government or not in government. And that's why you see that governors, after 8 years, they are so desperate to put a successor there. They are so desperate to put a structure there. You have situations where they think that, the more money I amass, the more political control I have. Like they are now saying that losing their understanding of nation building to start with, and then we can now ask the question, are they even committed to nation building? If we now understand, hardship in the land, we're talking, Victor. The things that concerns them, but the National Assembly, at what point of this 10th assembly did they get the SUVs? Did they wait for 1 year to get their own SUVs?
the revenue year to add 14 billion to the initial 7 billion that was approved.
You know, so all of the things that they want, they get immediately. They're not waiting. You take the things you want, you take it immediately. The judicial officers have gotten 300% increment in their salary. A judicial, okay, how would that kind of person now come and tell you, Victor, that we understand that you are sorry, but you wait. Justify that we need to buy one for him. It's not waiting. SUVs are being bought right, left, and center. Nobody is waiting. So you can't put waiting on the table for ordinary Nigerians, whereas on your own table it's immediate, sharp now. So Nigerians are waiting to see that example, that show of example from our leaders. Are not saying it, and that's why they don't trust them. That's why this vote of confidence, as far as I'm concerned, is worthless. Because the vote of confidence that I will take seriously will be a vote of confidence that comes from the people. Not from leaders who are also part of the problem. The same problem we are talking about, some of them were the foundation of the problem.
Because the people that even pass the vote of confidence, they don't have more than one PVC. So there's no way
there are even people of influence who have been part of the problem. There are people who have been in power, who are still in power. Bola Ahmed Tinubu should look at the legacy he wants to leave behind. I've talked about it before. Because there will be a day we also call him former. There will be a day.
I'm not reference to him as we're doing to Olusegun Obasanjo.
We are talking about Goodluck Jonathan now. We are talking about
Muhammadu
Buhari now. It's going to be one day wake up and realize that he's a former president. Whether it's 4 years or 8 years.
The funny part about it is that even if you get 8 years on the stretch, the moment you use 1 day out of those 4 years, it's no longer 4 years.
Do you know that the second
15 months is gone. In 24 months now, politicking will start.
When were we still running around covering the general elections?
We've done 15 months.
15 months have gone. I'm sure by the end of this year, I will be looking at 2 years gone. And 2 years, 2027 is already on the table.
Period.
So it's going to happen. I remember when President Muhammadu Buhari came in, after 3 or 4 attempts. And 2015, 8 years was like, oh, it came just like that. See how time flies. So it's going to happen. But what legacy is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu going to be leaving? Whether 4 years or 8 years of his presidency, I think you should ask himself that question.
Amazing time, amazing conversation we're having in Mid-Big Politics live on Mainland 98.3 FM. We've touched the issue of the Port Harcourt refinery. We've also touched the issue of the Council of States. Victor also led us into the issue of the clampdown on the, they said that the supporters or political sympathizers of the recently organized states, Kano, just at the moment is still having 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. curfew. Zaria in Kaduna that said the vote of confidence must and can only come on someone that's almost 9 million people voted. And by the way, for context, the people that voted against the president are more than the people that voted for him. If you put the combined vote of the second and the third person in Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi together, there's almost 14 million votes. There were other votes as well. 10,000. You understand that more than ever, even the ones that didn't vote for him are supposed to be the ones he would want to impress the most. I'll play you something right now. It is the voice of the girl. 09136000.com. Just on YouTube and drop your comment. Hear the voice of the late Moshood Kashmawala Abiola. The side vote is still suggesting that to bring normalcy and a range of colleagues is must. General elections in 2023 have created conversations and consequences that will live with us for years to come. From the executive to the judiciary, legislature, media, and the people, organized labor, and civil society I see a greater objective for the party. Where's the party was it? Provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies, and governance. Mid-Week Politics, Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics. As president, it's not my business what religious color anybody wears. In ITT, in Concord, in RCN, in Summerton, in the bakeries, in the bookshop, in the buses, and so
we employ people purely on merit, round pegs in round holes, period. There are so many people who work for me whose hometown I don't even know. I don't even know them anyway. I don't have to know them. Because we want to be objective. If I could do that in my own small business, I think Nigeria has every reason to expect from me a clear vision when it comes to the management of the affairs of the country as a whole. Quite obviously, we need to earn more foreign exchange. We shall therefore put in place policies that will broaden the foreign exchange earning capacity of the nation. We will pursue exports and local sourcing for industry. We shall aggressively pursue the implementation of the LNG project if the logjam on the gas project has not already been broken by this administration, by this current one. We shall maximize the nation's returns from oil by turning over future investment to the private sector and by removing the complex structures which makes NNPC's accountability and assessment of efficiency almost impossible. See, there are so many layers upon layers built on this simple thing, crude oil. I don't even know where is oil or some mystery around it that is taking the money from the central bank. See, I think we demystify all these things. In my government, the daily export of crude will be published and the price at which it is sold. You see, the issue of plan by implementation is simple. You see, public things are not private. We have National Assembly now. They will do their job. They will do the expenditure of government and will hold public hearing. We will no longer be hearing of monetary circulars from central bank without the bankers being told. The bankers will have to be involved. You see, like I said, every effort has been made in the past to shake people's head in their absence. It must stop. I mean, it won't be allowed. I mean, the cumulative wisdom of all the bankers will have seen us out of the problem we have in this country today. But some people, they call from IMF or they call from World Bank. What people don't know about Nigeria? You see, the most brilliant doctor in Norway might not have seen malaria in his life. So bringing him here and imposing him as a medical director, it might send everybody to have a grave. All that nonsense will stop. I rely on Nigerians to keep Nigeria running efficiently, and that's what it is. You see, there will be a few foreigners who will be recommended by our people, not those who will be imposed by some foreign authorities over us. We are an independent republic under God, aren't we?
I really had to take you back down memory lane, and that was the voice of the late MQ, that's Moshood Kashima Wala Abiola. That was the build up to the Hope 93 election. I'm sure that speech was made in 1991 or early 1992 or thereabouts, exactly.
Election for 93.
Yes, and then he talked about the fact that he's going to make sure that there's accountability in NNPC. He said that going to be daily export of crude will be published. He also talked about the fact that public campaign manifestos. I'm always really careful because there's a thin line between manifesto and propaganda. Nigerian politics are made to understand that. I'm always careful. It's almost like we copy these things and then just change the dates and then push it.
You know, manifesto becomes propaganda because, again, a lot of the things we say, we are not intentional about it. They might be visible, but we are not really intentional about doing those things.
Just say that because that's what we want to do.
It becomes propaganda.
Once you say they shout, hey!
Let me give you makers are stealing from the people practically by fixing your own pay, which is wrong. And instead of these people who are telling Nigerians to wait, oh, tomorrow will be good, to accept that criticism in good faith and see how to work around it, they said, oh, the salary is just 1 million something.
But the bonus is
coming. There's a revelation to contest an election. We need to go and be getting 1 million, 500 million
to defend his mandate.
His mandate. House of Reps member from Kano, from the NNPP, is now being opened. Has told us actually what each senator gets every month. At least he gets the alert. He can't be lying. And that's the senator from Kano, Abdulrahman Kawu Sumaila of the NNPP, who says he gets 21 million naira monthly in salary and allowances. And again, listen to what he said. Say, look, my monthly salary is less than 1 million after deduction. The figure comes down to a little over 600,000. That's Senator Sumaila saying that. He however added that given the increase effected in this recently by the ICPC, that is.
Look at people of that because of the democracy. Look at what about it now. When you play for MKU, it's like making me to be kind. Look at what you see. Gradually, we have a senator now. I want to give thanks to all my
much. Dᴏᴇ Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria is not at this speak for us either for good or with hidden transcripts. We urge the public to desist from such speculates. The Group Chief Branding and Communication Officer for Dᴏᴇ.
So for people who are expecting him to sell 600.
Exactly. Hello, good afternoon.
This is James from Agbado Junction. Very unbiased, very straight to the point. In fact, he speaks for the poor. For those that doesn't have much to speak, he has been the one representing them. I really thank God will continue to bless you. My point is that just like yesterday when we have council of the council of the state that was held yesterday, passing the vote of confidence, you should not be, disappointed because this is exactly what we expected. Because we don't expect them to be, start watching Mr. President that he did not do well himself. Because they are being well taken care of, they have their money, they are not hungry Nigerians in the street. So why would they now be speaking against the power? So the fact remains that they never disappointed us. Now concerning what is happening in Dangote, okay, look at, for instance, in America, someone come out and tell you this thing will work so time, and they get to that time, it didn't work. They come again, they still have confidence again to tell you another lie, work again, and again it didn't work. It continue like that. I mean, somebody has been lying to Nigerians.
We have to deliver ourselves with the choices we make at the ballots. Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon,
You're welcome, Mufoma.
I greet everybody in the studio.
Good
afternoon.
I say speaker and a grapher. Let me start from when your first start. Yes, if we have got the election right in 2023 and the INEC did not do bias and something did not disappear or somebody missed during the machine, we could have known who is leading us by now. So we have a country, but we did not have a leader. That's in Nigeria we find ourselves. We have a country, but we did not have a leader. What I've also explained that if Obasanjo have gotten it right, when he's about to hand over, maybe this governor from the Donald Trump was also contesting here. Okay, that was a day I was reading the biography of this Obasanjo. Do you know what I think is wrong? That is all. Don't find time to read about every single thing he has benefited when in his ministry, the position, the favor he received before becoming the head of state in the military. After that, all the wahala in 1979, he also came back again in 1999. At the end of the day, there's nothing you can say that a leader. So, whatever any problem with fans, Obasanjo contributors, even though the Senate allowing that just so nobody should blame the Senate. No contribute on it. But what they want is desire will come forward.
Okay, let me value your hopes. Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Lakome. Good to have you join us on the show today.
My dear brother,
we're glad you're able to come through today.
Thank God. To reach out to me just like a camera want to pass me
I the middle.
True call. I always appreciate you because you normally consider our Facebook messages. God bless you. My greeting to Mr. Fuad
we greet you.
And the other
There's Victor.
Afternoon.
Yeah, very good. Let me start on the standpoint of the issue of all sectors. I think Mr. President came out to tell us that no campaign sponsor the election. So, and I'm expecting to step on things. Even if no one sponsors the election, so the political will be supposed to be there so that we can correct all.
Mr. Lakomi, call back 013600410. Pick more calls. Then Victor will take us through some of our comments on Facebook. Mr. Gaja Joshua, good afternoon.
Yes, I salute you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
See, I think my next question now of recent has been, where do we go from here? See, we are not going anywhere, not until we revisit this our electoral process. I will not lie to you. We should try to recognize the problem now, and they will not listen to you. Election. See this man, this particular one that has been built with 20 billion. It was not to be so. But then, how is it full salary that will recover all this money? No, not to process. I will not pretend here. If you like, you pretend. You die. This is during election. You think someone that survived here now, you think you not do anything to me?
It's the one where we calling from.
Yeah,
Okay.
Aka from
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, my
We say we are running.
for the military.
Well, if you say
Am I mistaken?
no.
That position was given to us by Absalom Abubakar, who was the last military of the state. That was not a democratic constitution. So that is the foundation of our problem. The problem is we need to tell ourselves the truth. And when you say the truth, you will die. If you don't say it, you will die. See, the council of elders that they're talking about, they don't see this person as the council of elders. That is a counter protest. The reason why they organize that thing is they just want to counter that protest. Who is involved there? Hello?
You know sir.
Who was involved in that very council? We have Akwagio. Yeah? Who said we should go and protest while him and his family with their children? Who again? Aleké was there. Okay, now this government, they are not claiming that this is just 1 year that they are doing in the office. See, I want to come again. Okay, look at the 3 people in this very government, the head of state in this very government. We have the president, we have the vice president, we have the senate president. Okay, let me start on the president. The president was the former senator of this government.
The former governor also.
And a former eight-year governor, isn't it? Okay, the vice president, the governor, this former state government. What then you don't want to learn?
The Senate president, the former governor as well, a former minister.
Okay, the chief of staff was the speaker of the House of Assembly. Am I correct?
I think 4 terms.
Yes, the former they want to learn. Then Akwagio was the former governor of Akwagio State.
A former minister of Niger Delta.
And the former minister of let us forget about that off your mind. We know all these things. Then you stop deceiving us. The people are having the masses. Yeah, when they are stealing from us, when we are praising them. When you will see somebody using your money to come and
from 6 all the way to a lion led by sheep. Competent leadership is inevitable in the equation of successful nationhood. Thank you very much for that. Lanre Olakanmi is saying, good afternoon, you all. President Tinubu should summon courage to unearthing mystery and abracadabra in the oil sector. Baba Obasanjo should spare us all the rhetoric. He failed to fix our oil sector and power sector in his 8 years reign as president. I hope the assertion of Mr. Reuben Abati that there is evil spirits in Aso Rock is fiction. Well, I hope so as well. That is the National Council. I think Kabiru Adigbero about what is really going on in the oil sector is just pure area. A bit straight in regard opinion in my own administration was without shortcomings. for the
Ashton V600 047 from Ikeja.
Mr. Paul, I'm very angry with you. This morning, that was not having chance to call.
We are sorry. You can join the money and absolute bet.
Sorry.
But let him apologize. Okay. We become like a among issues of life under. And they know that these things they are saying are not true, but they will just be telling you. And the vote of confidence on Mr. President by the national security, whatever, I want to ask, is it vote of confidence on food, that there is enough food, or is it vote of confidence on security on our refinery state? Keep it quiet, on the level good here, I always enjoy even though we don't share the same.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Ambrose. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
You are from Gowon State.
To start by mentioning something, which is very, very ironic.
Go.
Do you know that we, the people, we are lamenting here. We are complaining. We are saying all the things that is affecting us. Do you know that those people we are talking about? I can bet it, they don't know anything we are talking about.
They don't?
That is to... They don't know what we are talking about.
Are you sure they don't, or is selective retention according to side forward?
Or perception.
I had my perception and my conviction, because I had a deep conviction that they don't listen to radio.
They don't care.
I'm telling you, because if they do, you understand, they will know what the people are passing.
You don't need radio to know the price of petrol or price of yam in the markets. They don't need the radio.
Are they bad? Is it their money? Do they struggle for these things to buy petrol? Do they know that yam is costly? They eat whatever they like. For them now to come together and say they are giving vote of confidence, that is to make us Nigerians know the more that if you are looking for your enemy, I'm telling you, and your leaders are your enemies, the so-called leaders. And it's so sad. And this same group of people that we were looking up to, they were the champions, the advocates for democracy, they were the activists. Look at what they are doing now. Is there actually a spirit that affects these people based on what's this man's name? Is it Rufai, or was this man that was in the government? He said once you get to Aso Rock, or once you get into Park, what's the next, huh? Abati, thank you, God bless you. Yes, most times, fine, we discard because we are too religious in this country. But when you look at what is going on, just like Mr. Fuad says, that people we have known before, you know that these are the kind of people that we have. See, it is in our hands though. I am telling you, nobody will save us like I have said. These people are the enemies of Nigerians. We should not look elsewhere. So may God help us so that we can be able to stand up for our rights.
Thank you.
That's my round.
Thank you very much. I want to say may God help us. I understand the place of God in this conversation side far, but we're not paying God salaries. The people that we trusted with our mandates, with our rights, which is our votes to lead us, and then even countries that are working, are functional, that are not even disturbing God as much as we are putting all of this.
Despite all that God has done for us.
Exactly. What else do we want? Last caller for the day.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon.
Your name, where you joining us from?
My name is Silas and I'm calling from Water. I want to see this opportunity to thank you very well. Because up to the time of this session, I was looking for that Nigeria will change. But having listened to you guys, may God bless you, I just believe that one day it will get right. Why did I say so? The senator that came out to clear the air about the take home of the senator, I believe he must have been listening to the cry of the people. We cannot get to them except by this kind of exception. Honestly, I know that there are few of them there that their conscience is pressing them just because you people are educating us. Please, God bless you. Please, the only only issue he have now is listening to you guys. Do you get me right? This is no longer Azikiwe was the first president of Nigeria. No, for educating us, digging out the truth, laying his best for the public to know. The Bible says that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. When you are our voice, you people are the voice, our voice. In my house, there is no way I can make noise and people will hear up there. But I believe these things are in social media from now to forever. Whether they get them to look at it or not, people will tell them that this is what is happening. Or they tell me complete. You know, also in the Bible there is a parable of the unjust judge and the widow. We will continue to cry until our cry is touch the heart of the unjust judge, and God will change their mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and thank you especially for the kind words. See, we have a lot of messages here, and it's unfortunate that I can't. You take that one. This one says, if they don't know what we are talking about, why are they trying to gag the media? Ask that man to insult any leader and see if they will not come for him. They hear us well and good. That's from Comrade Akoboko. Mr. Ford, I know you say the truth always. Well, okay, Comrade, I will not take that part of the message. Victor, I think you have something special for me. We are seeing something special right now in Uromi in Edo State, and we're seeing the deputy governor, or the impeached and reinstated deputy governor of Edo State, on the platform of the PDP, dancing at the rally of the APC.
Edo State.
Edo State. I can't wait to be there next month.
You get live reports.
Anyway, interesting one here coming from James Nkwachi Ogbonna. Let me skip all the other story and go straight to the one he asked a question. He said, I have a question. Maybe any of you can answer or respond to it. There was supposed to be Oro in Lagos from August 1st to 15, which was probably a ploy to stop the protest in Lagos. Please, how far with the Oro? Did they cancel it? Another question is, what happened to the 7 days ultimatum that the Martin Amawale faction gave to Governor Fubara to represent or to present the budget? We have not heard anything from them. That's from where
I'll talk about the Oro.
All right.
The Oro worshippers too go to market.
Okay.
They have wives, they have
Even
children.
the things that they always collect himself is fast.
I'm sure that even if there's anything to give to Oro, they will be rationing it now.
Yes, man.
That's all.
It concerns everybody.
Somebody
Worshippers.
Somebody made a joke recently. I said, when was the last time you ate your sleeve? That nobody's bringing food to poison anybody in the group anymore. Any food you want to bring, the person bringing the food is not eating. Thank you so much, guys. Side forward. Amazing time on the show today again.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait till next week. Victor, so much talk about. The conversation continues.
In this program with
Thank you so much, everyone that participated. The calls of the messages, and more importantly, we're sorry that we couldn't read loads of your messages. We are really, really sorry. We keep the conversation going by 4 o'clock. Join Sage Babalola in the situation room. But before then, 3 o'clock is the boss, Jadan and Bibi, who give you the very best on a super request Wednesday on their show. It's Midweek Politics. My name is Oᴏ L쏘łyᴏ. Stay safe. Let's keep the conversation going. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. Bye for now.